People who work at casinos. Have you ever seen people ruin their life? It's screwed up, man. People come in asking to be taken off the mailing list for the casinos because they know if they come in for the $15 in free play that we send them, they will stay and spend too much. But when you sign up for the rewards, it says you can't unsubscribe from the mailings. The only way to get the mailings to stop, through the casino at least, is to sign a paper effectively banning yourself from casino property for life. Since these are addicts we're talking about, they're super afraid to do that because they all convince themselves that they can play casually. It's straight up evil, if you ask me. I have a friend who went on a bachelor party trip but never was much of a gambler. The rest of his group went off to hit the tables and he just grabbed a drink and started walking around while his friends played. Well, at some point he said, "Why not?" and threw $20 into a slot machine. He was a little drunk at this point, and all of a sudden lights start flashing everywhere. His friends see this, comes over and asks what happened. My friend told him that he thinks he just won $1,500. His friend then informed him that he had been hitting the max bet button on accident and he had actually won $1.2 million. This is no joke. They put him up in a suite, get him a giant check, and take lots of pictures. 18 months later, it's all gone. Cocaine, hookers, and booze, and it's all over. We have to check up on him all the time because of how depressed he has gotten. He is a shell of a person. Never in my life have I seen a person so depressed. Be smart with your winnings, everyone. I don't work at a casino, but I saw a life ruined in one over the course of a weekend. I was just a kid skiing at Lake Tahoe with my dad, his friend from work, and her kid. After a day on the slopes, my dad went down to the casino with his friend. A few hours later, he came back up to the room and was acting strange. He was hesitant to tell me what was going on, but he eventually pulled me aside and said that his friend had lost over $15,000 over the course of a few hours. He couldn't get her off the tables. We went to bed. She stayed at the casino. The next day I woke up to the sound of a woman sobbing. My dad was sitting next to her in the living room area of the suite. He was hugging her and trying to comfort her. I couldn't really hear what was being said. We all left and drove home. After we dropped them off, my dad explained that she had spent every dime of savings, cashed in everything she could cash in, and then spent her son's entire college fund. She was a minimum wage worker. I don't know exactly how much she lost, but it was an amount that a single mom would be hard-pressed to put aside. I used to be a floor manager at a casino. One time, one woman became convinced that the casino was cheating at baccarat. She wasted about 10 years coming in every day and taking notes. Accused us of designing baccarat shoes back before auto shufflers when the cards were shuffled at the tables. I gotta figure she had a big win initially when the casino opened, because she used to say how she could come into the casino and then win $1,000 anytime you liked, but something's changed and I'm going to figure out what it is. Well, she died recently and basically wasted the last 10 years of her life convinced she was about to uncover a major scandal. I'd call that a waste. Occasionally, we'd humor her and ask her why she still gambled, or show her how the shuffle was random. She just refused any evidence on ground that we were part of the system. Had one guy who was a semi-regular small-stakes poker player. Then he started going through a divorce, and his company was co-owned by his wife, who wanted out. Over the course of a month, he went from being a semi-regular small-stakes poker player to playing high-stakes baccarat at the casino every day. He was spoken to several times since he was a nice guy and genuinely liked by the staff, and his story checked out. He had a successful company, was a very smart guy, and had a lot of spare cash. When his standards of grooming deteriorated from normal to zero over a week, that's when he eventually broke down during another meeting and we found out about the divorce. We imposed a voluntary ban and didn't see him gamble again. Once we had this young kid, might have been in his 20s, win around $250,000 from a slot jackpot. He was in with his girlfriend for a fun night. First time he'd been to a casino. Next weekend, they both came in again with very nice clothes, flashy jewelry, drove a fancy new car, and he was bragging all about it. He started coming in every weekend after that, trying for a repeat. Sometimes his girlfriend would join him. Those weekends, though, they add up, and soon enough he was wearing ordinary clothes again. Then the diamond chain was gone. His girlfriend eventually never came back again. She had left the equation. I think we banned him after he started abusing the staff and other players, accusing them of stealing his jackpot. I don't work at a casino, but my mom and I frequented the ones near us. One time when we were pulling into the parking lot, we saw a guy walking towards his car, looking completely destroyed, and he was crying or laughing while talking to himself. Another time, my mom was playing blackjack, and a man next to her lost about $2,000. He started crying on her shoulder and asking what he was going to do now. She spotted him at the tables again a week later. I spent a summer counting cash for a very small Indian casino. When we counted the money from slot machines, there was always one that had like a 4-inch stack of $1 bills. Turns out an old woman that they just called the $1 lady would come in every day and sit at a machine all day playing $1 at a time. She spent a lot, and I guess it's possible that she could afford it, but I think spending her life that way was more of a waste than the money. I've been a valet at a casino for a few years now, while I finished college. There's been times when couples will come out screaming at each other, or even to the point of physically fighting over losing too much money. Other people have stepped outside to take calls, telling whoever is on the phone that they're at the store or a friend's houses. One time a couple was fighting and the guy took his car and left his girlfriend crying in the foyer. A woman came out crying, saying she had lost $9,000 in the 20 hours she had been playing, and if we could pay for a cab. When I first met my wife's aunt, she was the top nurse at a hospital and worked administration. She then job hopped a few times and sold their house. She and her husband had raised their kids, lived about everywhere, and recently retired. They decided to move to Vegas with the oldest son and his husband when they adopted a son. My wife's aunt got a job as a school nurse, which paid all right, but was lower stress and hours than what she had used to do. She started gambling and went overboard. In a matter of months, the nest egg, including the sale of her home and life savings, was gone. She lost everything and more. Steps had to be taken to make sure she never got any of her own paychecks. If she got cash or even a check, it was gone if she was anywhere near downtown. It became a standard procedure for her husband, her sons, and her son-in-law to head out in 3 different directions to comb the strip. I haven't gotten all the details, but we do know that at times when she's gambled everything she had, she was found begging strangers for phone money or selling anything in her car, like her grandson's toys. We went to a casino once just to see what the deal was. No restaurant, just overpriced hot dogs. My wife overheard a woman in the restroom say she hopes she wins so she can pay the rent. If you enjoyed these stories and want to hear more, like and subscribe.